Datto recently uploaded a video titled Destiny 2 Elitist Datto's Thoughts on the Root of Nightmares contest raid, and this has now hit top trending within the Destiny 2 category. And as someone who creates content and has competed in these raid races since the very beginning, since D1 as it started, up until now, I wanted to give you my thoughts and weigh in my opinions as well, because I think that a lot of content creators are afraid to express their opinions because it does come across as elitist. However, I don't think that our opinions are coming from an elitist perspective, and I also have a little bit of different insight into some of this stuff than I think Datto's opinion is. However, largely I agree with like 99% of the stuff that he said. In today's video, we'll start from the beginning. We'll go through the first bullet points that I wrote down after watching this video. First, he said and talked a little bit about how the contest was so much easier this time. And I think that it's almost objectively true that it was much, much easier this time. The community didn't just unanimously get really, really good at the game. And to credit to anyone that did beat it, though, by the way, if you did beat this, I'm not trying to take anything away from you, but the contest mode is meant to be kind of like this really, really tough period of time for a short period of time, one day, where the raid is really, really hard. And a lot of the hardcore community within Destiny 2 really like this. They like the challenge because after this is up, the raids are significantly easier and people start to do low man challenges and even solo the raids from time to time. However, this time around, we saw people beat the contest mode speedrunning it. They beat it flawless. They two-manned the entire raid in contest from start to finish. We had people soloing encounters in contest. That's pretty crazy. We have never seen that before. And because of that alone, I think it's pretty fair to say that it's objectively true that this contest mode was much easier. In fact, if you take a browse through Reddit, through Twitter, through LFGs, through the forums, anywhere, you'll see a lot of people expressing this opinion, which is Bungie made an easy one. This is an easy contest mode, an easy emblem, etc. And that's kind of the sentiment that's put out there. And that's the reason why people who kind of want things to be hardcore, at least for the contest, not all the time, but at least for the contest, are speaking out about it, because we kind of want to see it be as hardcore as it was in the past. Not quite as hardcore as Last Wish, but at least a little more difficult than it was this time. Now let's go on to our second point, which is the mechanics in this raid are so simple that a lot of times they have just one person running mechanics or two. At max, there's like 4 people running mechanics, and that's if you choose to do so. Most encounters can be done with just 1 or 2 people running the mechanics, which I think is a bit of a problem. One thing that I never liked about some of the raids in D1, if you remember at Crota's End, it was all 5 of you jump in front of the window and shoot G-Horn while one person runs the relic. They run the sword, right? And stun Crota. I always thought that was really bad mechanics, because just everyone just stands around the whole time while one person does everything. And they're, at the time, a hunter going invis. And I feel like with time, we saw more mechanics incorporated. For example, I'm just throwing stuff out there. With the Last Wish, we had everyone shooting Riven's eyes. Everyone kind of had to, number them, whether you went through L1 through 5, R1 through 5, or numbered them 1 through 10. You've got everyone shooting their respective eye. You kind of have the mechanics being spread around like hot potato, right? Like everyone has to do a little bit of something. There can't just be that one guy doing ad clear, or at least if there is one guy doing ad clear, it's just 1 or maybe 2 people doing ad clear. When the majority of the raid team are just clearing ads while one guy runs around and does the mechanics by themselves, it's kind of a bad raid mechanically, or at least it's frustrating in that regard. I think it's more fun when everyone kind of has to bear the burden of the responsibility of doing the mechanics whilst clearing ads and then leading into the damage phase. I think that makes for a better raid overall. However, there's room for disagreement. If you disagree, feel free to sound off in the comments. The next part we'll be talking about was Bungie had an article where they said they were bringing challenge back to Destiny. That was a big thing that they wanted to triumphantly announce, and they have done so in a variety of different activities. However, it feels a bit odd when the Legend Avalon mission, the Legend exotic mission, is like way harder than the raid. And right now we have like the Mars Heist Battlegrounds as the Nightfall, and that was even way harder than the raid. The enemies were way harder. Obviously, you're a little bit more underleveled in that, but even still, it just feels kind of crazy to be in a raid and contest and just be mowing through everything, running through everything fairly effortlessly. And as a side note, I know that some of you out there will be like, hey, I tried the raid and I got absolutely stomped. And that might have been your experience. However, I will say that most people that use relatively good weapons and have decent builds, have some of the right stuff on. You don't have to have a perfect godroll of everything and an absolutely perfect like specced out build with the right exotics. But if you have at least some of the right stuff on, it was relatively easy to clear through the ads and stuff. And if you're newer to the game and you had a really hard time playing through it, that's okay, because this isn't meant to be for the new player. It's not meant to be the new person that just bought Destiny a day ago jumps in and beats the contest raid. In fact, it's kind of meant to be the opposite. I mean, if you do try the contest raid, that's okay, but it's meant to be kind of tough, and it's meant to be more for the hardcore crowd, the people that invest a lot of time, money, effort into, you know, building their game and building their kit and building up their vault and stuff. And that crowd definitely does deserve a place in Destiny at some point in time. And right now, they kind of get the day one raids as like that's their crown, right? They get the 24-hour emblem, and that's seen as like the most challenging time for them. And after that, it's back to the usual, you know, the low man challenges or whatever it may be. And I understand that is a very, very small percentage of the entire player base. However, I will say this, that even I, as someone who's not like a hardcore speedrunner and stuff, I at least admire the challenge of that. And I think that it's kind of cool that there are challenges like that in the game, especially for contests. And lately with this contest, it felt like it was at least diminished in terms of its challenge, because it was much, much easier this time around than it has been in the past. And we had more people this time around beat the raid in contest than all the other raid contests combined than ever in the history of Destiny, which I think can be seen as kind of a cool thing in one light, where you think about there's more people playing Destiny 2 now than ever before. So in terms of a numbers game and a popularity game and the health of the population, it could be seen as a good thing. Hopefully those players stick around. We'll see as we get to the latter weeks of this given season and future seasons if those players are still playing, because obviously a large surge of players playing right now doesn't mean that they're going to stick around. And hopefully that doesn't give Bungie the feeling of this was an all-around success due to the fact that more people played the raid during the contest mode than ever before, because I don't think that numbers are the entire metric of success. Let's do a little thought experiment here for a moment, and let's just say that the raid was so easy during contest mode that literally everyone that attempted it beat it. Right now it's at like a 45% completion rate. Imagine it was just absolutely so, like just 2 Cabal ads, the boss has like no health, he can be killed with just regular sidearms in one phase, right? There has to be a limit to some degree, right? There would be a limit where it's like, okay, yeah, this was a miss, right? This was too easy of a raid. And for everyone out there, it's going to be a different measurement for you. You might be like, oh, well, what's tough for me isn't necessarily as tough for others, and vice versa. And so comparing yourself to, you know, content creators or people that raid regularly or people that grind the game all the time is unfair. In one light, it is important to keep a perspective and realize that there has to be some boundaries to how difficult the raid should be within contests, right? There should be some degree of difficulty. It shouldn't be so easy that literally everyone beats the raid within contests. Is that not correct? I'll be reading your thoughts down below. And I do want to say again and very clearly that if this was your first clear of a raid within contest and you're proud of that, you still should be proud of that. Like, this is all relative, right? What I'm proud of in terms of my raid completions, what Datto's proud of in terms of his raid completions, what you're proud of, what your level of skill, what your level of accomplishments in Destiny is all very subjective to each other. For example, if I got top 10 in this raid, which I didn't, didn't even get close to top 10 in a finish. If I got top 10 completion in this raid, I would be super proud of it. I'd be super happy, right? But if Saltagrepo gets top 10, he's probably kind of bummed about it, right? Because he just got like 3 worlds first back to back to back. He's probably looking for the 4th world's first, right? So a top 10 finish for Saltagrepo is he's sad, he's depressed about it, versus a top 10 finish for me is like, this is like the greatest day ever. I'm super happy. I'm stoked about it, right? So it's all very relative to our own personal experiences. And I'm not here to diminish your experience and what you had and how you enjoyed the raid. If you did enjoy the raid, if you had fun doing it, that's awesome. However, I will say that the history of Destiny has been that these contest mode periods of the raid have been very difficult and very tough. And the community has become accustomed to that. And for it to change drastically with this raid and the bar to be lowered so much has felt very disjarring, especially for the competitive PvE community inside Destiny 2. And that's the focal point that I think Datto is trying to get at with this video. And that's the focal point that I think a lot of people who take PvE seriously, at least during this raid race, what they're trying to get at with this. No one's trying to diminish your accomplishments in Destiny 2. No one's trying to gatekeep you from getting the emblem. We just want Destiny 2, at least during the contest mode period, to be substantially difficult, because that makes a better game overall, because afterwards it's going to be a lot easier. And I feel like it being a real tough competition during that period of time is a really cool thing and something that I really admire about Destiny 2, at least during the raid launches. Let me know your thoughts if you agree or disagree down in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed. Smash like button. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.